Hello friends, I am Chevy. Welcome to my shed. It is almost 1900, 7 o'clock on a Wednesday. I completely forgot about game night tonight. I came home and I fell asleep. I've been freaking exhausted since about Sunday, and I don't think I thought at first that it was daylight savings, and I thought, man, this daylight savings is hitting me hard this year. I don't remember it being this bad. I don't think it's at it. I don't think that's it at all. I think it's the CFS or chronic fatigue. It just feels bad. I fell asleep at like 7 o'clock last night, which is extremely unusual. Usually I'm up fairly late working on the show, working on the gaming channel, trying to reply to comments and send emails and all that stuff. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on. I'm very tired today. And today, I had a little special treat, actually, at work. I thought it was going to be, let's be honest, I thought it was going to be lame when I was asked to do it. But it actually turned out to be really fun. And that was judge a social studies fair. I got to be a judge, and I judged 2 categories today. I judged economics. And I don't know the grade levels of those students. I would guess they were probably like 5th or 6th graders. And I judged world history, same age group. And I had a blast. Like, the kids that presented were excellent. We judged at regional level, so these students had already been through their school social fair, and then their county's fair, and so they've already won twice to get to this point. So these were really well put together projects. I was really highly impressed with quite a few of the projects that I saw, and the ones that I judged. It was difficult in some cases to choose, like, who's going to win this thing. That's not an easy, my choice, essentially. You judge in pairs. So these two, between the two of us, we had to choose one person from each of these categories to go represent our region in the States. So it actually turned out to be really enjoyable. I really enjoy seeing young, passionate learners, because while education is absolutely one of my favorite things in the entire world. Like, I love to learn. I love learning anything and everything I can learn. I was a terrible student because, this isn't me tooting my own horn, I was that child I was just bored to tears in school. It was so easy. There was no challenge involved, and I was just bored to death. I graduated high school with a 1.2 grade point average. D student through and through. And it wasn't for lack of intelligence, and it wasn't for lack of understanding. It was just, I simply didn't care. After 12 years of public education, I was so burned out on the basics that it just drove me to tears. So to see young children who are halfway through their public schooling, essentially, embrace and really get interested in a project and a topic, loved it. It was amazing. It was really fun. So I had a lot of fun. But where this all took me today was, we talked a little bit before the show about, we've had some bad weather, and so some people weren't going to show up because of that, and we knew that. Thankfully, the snow missed us, so that, we had to think. But I was told that some people just won't show up because the homeschoolers always win. And so they're just like, what's the point of going if we're just going to send all homeschool kids to the States? And I thought about that for a little bit, and I don't know a whole lot about homeschooling. Let's be honest. The funny thing is, my boss and my coworker both homeschool, and they both have like 6 and 7 children, and they've homeschooled them. And I still don't know a whole lot about it. I know that the children who are homeschooled are tested regularly, just like public school children, and they have to meet up to their grade level. But as far as that goes, I'm not sure I don't think that they have to stick to any sort of curriculum path. I think they're supposed to make lesson plans. This is what I'm going to teach, and then the county that they live in has to approve those lesson plans. I think that's how that works. But to really think about something like this social studies fair, and this was like, I never did this as a kid, but I did science fair. Same sort of thing. You put up the display. You have some sort of thing that you make that goes along with your display. Your display has information. You write there's a name for it, a synopsis essentially of what you're going to do, what you're talking about, how you did your research, a bibliography of your research, and you do an oral presentation. And I never really thought about the homeschool advantage when doing something like that. And it's not necessarily to say that homeschool parents did all the work. That's not what I'm trying to say at all. But the difference is that the child who goes to public school doesn't get to work on their project at school, or if they do, it's like one period a day while they're in social studies or whatever, class is sponsoring this thing, and then they have to go home and do it. Whereas the homeschool children, they could spend an entire day or 2 days or 3 days or however many days they need to spend on perfecting their project. And maybe that's a little unfair. I don't know. But it seems, the homeschoolers say, well, the other kids can go home and do the same thing. Kinda, but they had to sit through school all day. They had to take all these general education courses, which don't make a whole lot of sense to me. And so I've never been homeschooled. I've never considered homeschooling my children. But I'm really curious to know if any of you are homeschooled or have homeschooled and or know homeschoolers, and what your opinion is on self-education at home, education, or even going as far as the no education. I know that's kind of a movement now where it's no school. What do you think about those methods of educating our youth? And in a situation like this, where they can spend an extra amount of time doing a project, do you think it's fair? Because it didn't occur to me today that is a thing until we're judging. And then I got to kind of see it in action, and it was true, definitely. So curious to know what you think about homeschooling. Please leave me a comment. Even if it's not about homeschooling, it can be about anything, and I'll respond. And if you have suggestions for future shows, comments down below, and we'll talk about it. So thank you so much for being here. As always, I really do appreciate you making me a part of your day. Thank you for liking and commenting and subscribing, and I will see you tomorrow.
Hey, Doc, wait! I want to ask you something.
Today's random fact comes from realtreesforkids.org. How many different types of trees are in the world? Interesting. There are 750 types of trees in North America and about 100,000 in the world. Many of those are endangered. Those numbers count both conifer, cone-bearing trees, and deciduous trees. Wow. 100,000 species of tree. I would not have guessed that, and I'm a woodworker.